know this guy, you know. He was quite a funny guy.
The 13th of August, 1915. Desperate for a break from frontline horrors, Papineau takes off across the French countryside, looking for adventure.
The day has been gloriously warm and flooded with sunshine. In one field, I saw an old man building a wheat stack. It was irresistible. I tramped over, then told the old chap that I would take his place. I took off my cap and belt and coat, rolled up my sleeves, and seized his long-handled pitchfork. I learned how to move my feet so I should not stand on the end of the sheaf I was trying to toss. I learned to give a little shove at the end of the stroke to disengage the fork, just as we used to hoist the pole at Oxford when punting. The farmer's wife came out with a jug of cool beer. I hate beer. I've never taken more than a mouthful in all my life. But I felt too much a part of the picture not to join in the drinking. The perspiration soaked and dripped about me. It was magnificent. It was an adventure in contentment.
Scott Truman has come a long way from the wilds of Dragon Lake, British Columbia.
He shares a grave with his buddy.
In search of the grave of one of the 6 Truman brothers who answered the call to arms in 1914. 3 Truman boys are at the front when in the middle of the night, their mother has a premonition.
But she just suddenly awoke in the middle of the night with fear that she had lost her son.
It isn't a nightmare, it's death. The letter she wrote to him the day he died was returned, killed in action. She writes another of her boys, Willie, who is about to be shipped out.
I had a very nice letter from the chaplain and one from his sergeant. They gave the dear lad much praise. I'm trying to look on the right side. I think I have given my share to this war. My eldest, 1 missing, 1 killed, and 2 crippled, another fighting in France.
I think I've given enough.
Yeah. How much do you have to give to a war for it to be enough, right? Their glory shall not be blotted out.
In northern France, this is the Somme River. During the Great War, the Germans seized the heights beyond, while British forces spent most of the war trying to dislodge them. This is the Chateau Beaurepaire. Inside these walls in 1916, in great secrecy, a new scheme is drawn up by the Imperial British staff to break the German line. At battlefields like this, along a 24-kilometer wide front, there would be an immense artillery barrage, which of course would destroy the German defenses. The plan is controversial. It requires more than 200,000 British soldiers to form up, advance towards the German line in disciplined rows, and simply occupy what was left of the German trenches. Even the timing is controversial. Attacks launched in pre-dawn darkness are safest. Here the British would attack in the clear light of a midsummer morning. Later, the German machine gunners said it looked like the British were on a parade square. A caribou, the symbol of the Newfoundland Regiment, signals that this is the battlefield where the Newfoundlanders joined the massive British attack that day, the 1st of July, 1916. On a stone cairn, a poem hints that the plan did not work out well. Tread softly here. Go reverently and slow. Yea, let your soul go down upon its knees. The battlefield is the best preserved on the Western Front. You can even see the craters and the trenches where the men went over the top that July morning. Newfoundlander Sandy Gow is haunted by what happened here.
My ancestors aren't from Newfoundland, but it's where I was born, it's where I grew up. And the story of the July Drive is one I've known for as long as I can remember. The British had a bombardment set up that went on for days, and this was supposed to take out the German barbed wire, the German machine guns. But by the time we got to July 1st, the barbed wire hadn't been cut and the machine guns hadn't been taken out. One Newfoundland soldier made it over to the German trenches and back again to deliver the news that the German machine guns hadn't been taken out and the barbed wire hadn't been cut. And his report was dismissed as the nervousness of men who were facing battle for the first time.
The German soldiers facing the Newfoundlanders are from the 119th Reserve Regiment. They are outnumbered 7-1 by the British attackers, but they have the Maxim machine gun, capable of firing 8 bullets a second, 500 a minute. It is dismissed as an overrated weapon by Britain's top generals. The Newfoundland Regiment, which would be part of the third wave of attackers, watch as the 1st British Regiment go over the top. It is the South Wales Borderers. Within minutes, out of 800 borderers attacking, 21 officers and 578 men are down. Frantic messages are dispatched to headquarters. But at the Chateau Beaurepaire, the British generals are in full denial, refusing to believe that the first attack could have ended so badly. They conclude the men must have failed to attack. They ordered the second wave over the top. It's the Middlesex Regiment, 750 men attacking, and within 30 minutes, 22 officers and 500 men are gone. Despite the catastrophic failure of the first 2 assaults, the Newfoundlanders are told they must prepare to attack. The 1st of July, 1916, 9:37 a.m. All along a 40-kilometer front, a great disaster is befalling the British Army. A wave of wounded coming back from the battlefield throws the Newfoundland front line into total chaos. Surely, they would not be ordered to go into this. British headquarters could not believe the reports that the attacks were a disaster. So the message is sent back from headquarters. The Newfoundlanders must attack.
Go, go! Go, 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 go!
Having repelled 2 British attacks, the Germans watch in disbelief as another advance moves towards them. They wait for the Newfoundlanders to come closer.
This is the danger tree. And they called it the danger tree because it was the most dangerous place on the battlefield. It was the only place where they'd actually managed to cut the barbed wire. So all of the soldiers were making their way towards here. And the machine guns, all they had to do was point and fire. And one of the German soldiers said that there were so many of them coming that if they had charged, they would have overwhelmed them. But they were still under this command